Welcome to RidgeLife. I'm Tim, and today on RidgeLife's Reviews and How-Tos, I'm going to show you how to set up, install, and use your Tuff 80-pound ATV trailer hitch spreader. Hey guys, this thing can handle 80 pounds, spread that fertilizer and seed everywhere. Let me show you how to set it up. This is a 12-volt electric motor spreader. Doesn't have to use the wheels or anything to spin to broadcast the seed. Does hold up to 80 pounds, like I mentioned. It can spread up to 12 feet. That's your broadcast width. Very, very nice. Does mount in a 1¼ inch receiver or a 2-inch receiver. It is very versatile. I'll show you that here in just a second. You can reach the controls from your operator seat. The electric motor does spin at 570 RPM. That is very, very cool. Does come with a rain cover. That's nice. Keep your fertilizer nice and dry. On-off switch, and it has quick connect wiring harnesses. Again, 80-pound, 12-volt receiver mount spreader. Gonna do the job very, very nicely. I am going to do something a little bit different here. Instead of showing you how to put each piece together step by step separately, I'm going to show you how to put it together per the manual while it's already assembled. That way you can visualize what it needs to look like, because it's not exactly easy following these instructions. The instructions are correct, but there's actually a couple things missing from the instructions, and I will show you those, and that will be very, very valuable. You're only going to need a few tools to get this job done. One is a 10mm box-in wrench, a ratchet with a 10mm socket, and you will also need an 18mm socket and a 19mm socket. Those 3 sockets, ratchet wrench, and a boxed-in wrench. You're going to get this job done easy. For materials, you've got 6 of the M6x16 little bitty short bolts. You've got 2 of the M6x20. I call those medium. You've got 6 of the large M6x40, and there's 1 extra large, that's M6x70. You're going to use that big spacer bushing there on the bottom left. You do have 2 of the very large M10x25s. For hex nuts, you got 15 of the M6. You're going to use those pretty much everywhere. You do have 2 flat washers, large flat washers there. You have 2 spring washers. The big washer, you have 1 large washer, and then the flat washers, you've got 6 of them, and you're going to use those again for the little bitty bolts. I'll show you where those go. The first step is putting on this deflector plate to this cross beam tube. Now you're going to use the little shorty bolt, You're going to use the large washer, those 2 large washers, and your lock hex nut. Put the bolt in from the back side there. You're not going to want to tighten anything down, okay? Let's leave everything loose for this job until the very end. I'll show you why. This right here, this deflector plate, can actually hit the spinning blade. So what you have to do at the very end is tighten this down, pushing it in with your thumb on this little slider bar here. That's why it has a large washer. And then that way the blade doesn't hit it. But that deflector plate, again, leave it loose. And then down at the bottom here, you're going to be using the medium bolt, and you'll have, again, the hex washer and the little bitty small flat washer. Once you have your crossbeam tube to your hopper assembly tube, then you're going to want to do these support arms attached to your hopper assembly tube. You're going to use the 40mm long bolts, or the large ones, again with the lock nuts and the small washers. And this bar, you want the top to be the part that angles away, okay? Angles away, and then the bottom is going to be angled toward you. So get both of those put in on both sides, there over there, and again, don't tighten anything down. The next step is going to use the connecting tube assembly and the extension tube. The extension tube goes into the receiver, and you can use it for the 1¼ or the 2-inch. You can see I got 2-inch here, and all you got to do is flip it around either way. So your connecting tube assembly has these U-bolts, and you can slide it on from either way. Facing this way or facing that way, depending if you use 2-inch or 1¼ These bolts are already attached. This is 19mm lock nut. So once you got everything on, I go ahead and put it into my receiver there, tighten these down, and again, you don't have to tighten them all the way yet. Again, I like to do it at the very end to make sure everything's tight. But again, this was the 19mm. Get it on there very secure. Now we're going to install the hopper tube assembly to the spacer plate. These connecting arms, this is the one that's angled this way. You're going to use the small M6 bolts. You're going to have the small washer and your lock nut right here. And on the front, you're going to use the large, the 40, the M6x40, and you're going to use the lock nut, but you're not going to use any washer below here, no washer. grab your hopper assembly with your spacer plate and actually put it on the assembly connecting tube. Once you get it lined up, that's where we're going to use those large 10 by 25 bolts. You'll have a lock washer and a large flat washer. And then of course you'll have your, it's threaded below on this plate, so you do not need a nut. So tighten that down. This one is 18 millimeter socket. So 18 millimeter socket, 18 millimeter socket, get those. Now you'll have your hopper assembly to your connecting tube. Now we're going to mount our switch plate to our hopper. Has this big spacer here, and this is that one long M6 bolt. One long M6 bolt, and you're going to use the large washer and your lock nut, okay? That should get that on. And then down below, these two right there, these two right here, they do not have any nuts on them, but they're the lock nuts and the short bolts, okay? Just the little short bolts. Once you've got that assembly, now you can put your switch on top of your switch plate, and again, it uses the very small bolts and the lock nut with no washers again. So nut, bolt, no washer. That's the short ones, 4 of them. One part that is not shown is this wing nut right here. I guess it assumes it's automatically installed. Mine was not, and there's no instructions for it. So what you've got is this plastic wing nut. You've got this locking knurled washer and this black spacer, and then you got this carriage bolt, right? It has the square shoulder on it. You slide that through, slide the spacer on, slide the knurled washer on, and what this does, it prevents the lever mechanism that opens the gate that lets the seed out from moving too far. So if I go here, I can go open it all the way up, come back, I slide it back to here, and this is what I can just push back, and all of a sudden now I just get a little bit of seed coming out. Move it to there, get a lot more seed. If I look down in the hopper, I can see the window opening and closing. Again, this is fully closed, partially fully open. One feature I really like is this protective cover. Keeps the material inside dry. Does have this clear plastic film where I can see inside and see how much is left. That is very nice, without having to pull it off and risk getting any water in there. Well, now what I've done, I noticed the cover had a little strap right there. The instructions didn't say anything about this little strap. It's only on the one side. I ran the electrical cable through there. That way, whenever I let go of this and it falls off, it's still attached to the ATV. Also, it keeps my electrical wires from hanging down too low. So that's just a RidgeLife hint. Take it if you will. Now I need to show you how to make your electrical connection to your battery of your side-by-side or ATV, and that is very easy as well. Coming off the hopper, I've got this cable with a quick connect, and I just ran it up through a hole next to my battery. Then you've got your actually battery terminal quick connect. So before I make that termination, I'm gonna take the red, and it's a ring terminal, take off the screw or bolt, put it under the battery connection, tighten that down nice and secure, same thing. So red to red, black to black. Once I get that all connected and get everything tidied up, then I'm just going to push the quick connect together, and we are ready to test. First step I want to do is adjust my flow rate, okay? And you can look up online and see what the recommended flow rate is for the material you're doing, fertilizer or seed. But so you adjust how far you want to go, tighten your wing nut down, that will regulate. So you got it fully closed. I can push it this way and it opens up the gate and it starts coming out. But first you want your motor running. So with the gate closed, I push the button. It starts to spin. I'll show you that right now. And then with it spinning, I can get in position on my ATV, get going, and reach back and just push this open and keep going back to driving, and it's just throwing seed everywhere. Of course, I want to make sure I close the gate, then turn the power off. If you stop and turn the power off without closing the gate, seed and fertilizer will go everywhere. You don't want to waste your seed, and you definitely don't want too much fertilizer in one spot. Kill your grass. This is a good opportunity for me now to explain why you didn't want to tighten this plate up right here, because this will hit it, right? If the instructions say put these bolts in, tighten this plate down, the deflector plate, and you're good to go. Nope. So leave those loose, and you can spin this, push this deflector in, tighten these down, nice and smooth operation, okay? Then I go back and tighten up all the other bolts, making sure everything is secure, and now we're ready to use this thing. Let's do it. I got my gate settings set. I'm just gonna push this lever back when I'm ready. Go ahead and start the wheels. All right, we got the wheels spinning, and I'm gonna start off and go. Once I get into a speed and a location I want, then I'm gonna push this gate back and just let it rip, tater chip. To my review of the spreader. The only issue I had is with the gate opening and closing. You see it slowly closing there and opening. See how I got it set to halfway. It was getting a little stuck down in there, and I think it's because originally when I did the fertilizer or the lime got stuck up inside there. I need to clean that out real good. I bet with fertilizer and grass seed that would move just fine, but it's a little sticky, just a little sticky. Hopefully you enjoyed watching us set up, use, and review our Field Tuff 80-pound 12-volt spreader. This thing is going to be invaluable here on the ridge. I'm building an off-grid barn dominium, got all the land cleared. I got to get some grass growing. This is what I'm going to use to do it. So make sure you go check out RidgeLife, okay? My channel RidgeLife, that's where I'm going to be doing all that off-grid building. So subscribe, like, share, hit that notification bell. It's all free, and don't forget to do that to RidgeLife's Reviews and How-Tos right here. I appreciate you coming on, and hopefully you enjoy your spreader. So until next time, I hope everyone has a blessed day, and go RidgeLife.